If I woke up tomorrow and somehow found myself back at 40 years old, there are a few things I wouldn't do. Not because they're illegal, not because they're immoral, not because the fitness police would come crashing through my front door, but because I've seen what happens when men keep doing them. I've watched good men become weaker, more tired, more overweight, more frustrated, and in many cases they had absolutely no idea it was happening. The strange thing is that none of these mistakes seem particularly serious at the time. That's what makes them dangerous, because the habits that do the most damage are rarely dramatic. They're usually small things repeated for years, and before you know it, you've become somebody you barely recognise. Today, I'm going to give you the 5 things I personally would never do after 40, and one of them might surprise you because it's got nothing to do with fitness. Anyway, if you're new here, I'm Tommy, and everything I talk about on this channel is based on what I actually do myself to stay lean and in shape at 51. And if you want to get on the mailing list to receive my Sunday workout motivation email and get my free high protein lunch recipe, the link's in the description. Anyway, less waffle, let's get into it. So the first one, I'd never accept getting weaker. This is a big one because somewhere around 40, a lot of men start lowering the bar. They start expecting less from themselves. They assume getting weaker is just part of aging, and before long, they stop trying. Now, obviously, I'm not as strong as I was in every single lift when I was younger, but that's not the point. The point is that I refuse to accept unnecessary decline. I've met men in their 50s who are stronger than they were at 30, not because they're genetic freaks, because they actually train consistently. The biggest mistake isn't getting weaker. The biggest mistake is deciding that getting weaker doesn't matter. Aging is inevitable. Surrender is optional. Some men hit 45 and they just kind of become floppy. You know, like really weird weak. Why would you choose to allow that to happen? And the next one is probably responsible for more belly fat than almost anything else. So the second thing I'd never do is drink my calories. I actually don't drink any calories at all. None. Now, before anybody jumps into the comments, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm telling you what I wouldn't do. And for me, personally, alcohol is one of the easiest things to avoid. Think about it. You consume hundreds of calories. You sleep worse. You recover worse. You make worse food choices. And then spend the next day wondering why you feel terrible. It's one of the few things that manages to make fat loss, recovery, and energy worse all at the same time. And here's the thing. Most people don't realise how much better they can feel because they haven't experienced life without alcohol for years. Most people don't need more willpower. They need fewer things working against them. A lot of men spend Saturday night borrowing happiness from Sunday morning. But the next one is the mistake I see among men who actually go to the gym. So the third thing I'd never try and do is out-train a bad lifestyle. This is incredibly common. Someone gains weight, feels tired, has no energy, and decides the answer is more exercise. So they hammer themselves in the gym 3 times a week, then spend the other 165 hours doing everything wrong. Poor sleep, poor nutrition, constant stress, no movement, too much sitting. The gym is powerful, but it's not magic. You can't build a healthy life on top of unhealthy foundations. And honestly, most fat loss happens outside the gym. Most recovery happens outside of the gym. Most aging happens outside of the gym. You can't spend 1 hour fixing what you're practicing for the other 23. Now, this next one has absolutely nothing to do with fitness, but it might be the most important thing in the entire video. So the fourth thing I'd never stop doing is I'd never stop building something. One thing I've noticed about men who age well, they're usually moving towards something. A fitness goal, a business, a hobby, a project, a skill, a challenge, just something. The men who seem to age fastest are often standing still. Same routine, same complaints, same excuses, year after year. I genuinely believe enthusiasm is one of the most youthful qualities a person can possess. Not because it changes your age, because it changes your energy. And energy is visible. People can see it. Some men get old because of birthdays. Others get old because they stop having plans. If the most exciting thing in your week is finding a parking space near the supermarket entrance, you've as good as given up. And finally, this last one might be the most dangerous mistake of all because it feels completely harmless. So the fifth thing that I'd never do after 40 is I'd never wait for motivation. This is where most people get stuck. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel motivated. I'll start when work calms down. I'll start after Christmas. I'll start after the holiday. I'll start next Monday. The problem is that motivation is unreliable. Some days it's there, some days it's not. The men who stay in shape after 40 don't have endless motivation. They have standards. They do things because that's who they are, not because they feel like it. I've trained on days when I felt great, and I've trained on days when I'd rather have done almost anything else. The difference isn't motivation. The difference is consistency. If you're one of those people that always needs everything to be perfect before you can start something, just accept it. You're actually one of those people that's perfected making excuses for doing nothing at all. Just start. Start messy, sort it out as you go along. That's how you build consistency. Motivation might get you started, but standards and consistency keep you going. Let's face it, if motivation was reliable, we'd all have six packs, spotless houses, and speak fluent Spanish. If I could give one piece of advice to every man over 40, it'd be this. Stop thinking about aging as something that happens to you. Start thinking about it as something you influence. You will influence it every time you train, every time you walk, every time you choose sleep, every time you challenge yourself, every time you refuse to lower your standards. Because the men who age best aren't usually the luckiest men. They're the men who keep showing up again and again and again. I'm 51. I don't expect to feel 21, but I absolutely expect to keep improving. And honestly, I think more men should expect the same from themselves. If you've enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments, which of these 5 mistakes do you see most often? And if you're over 40 and want to look the absolute best you can without any silly fitness nonsense and weird diets, boing the like and subscribe, because that's what this channel is all about. Anyway, I'm Tommy, this is Six Pack 50, and if you want to take things to the next level and find out what I did to feel 10 years younger, I'd suggest the next video you watch is this one right here. Give it a click. Go on.